Going live, going once. The Hangout on Air is live. Good morning, welcome, happy Friday. Flex those muscles, stretch, get ready. For those of us who are on the left coast and are just getting up. For those of you on the east coast or the right coast, not right as in it's the right coast to be on, but right as in it's on the right side of the map. You're already thinking about lunch.
Almost, actually.
And it's a beautiful day in Pennsylvania today.
Is it? Oh, here comes Travis. Perfect. So we're filling up. So bear with me 1 second because it's the funniest thing. Just typical Google. The reason I actually started the pre-hangout 5 minutes late was because Google. We should just call Google Plus Google Bugs, right? Because Google Bugs was added again. So every time I clicked on the, when I first sign into my Google Plus account, it goes to my sort of personal Seth David from School of Bookkeeping account, and I have to click on the icon at the top right to switch over to the actual company page. So every time I would switch over to the company page, then I was clicking on the link for the Hangout page so I could access the Start button, and for some reason it kept launching it in a new tab and bringing me back to the Seth David the person page instead of keeping me on the School of Bookkeeping page. So and it took me like 3 tries to realize what was going on and why I couldn't see the stupid Start button every time I clicked over. So Google Bugs was added again this morning. And I'm sure it may not help my case that I sit here and badmouth Google on their own Hangout.
Seth, I don't think it matters one way or the other. A lot of people
sure
have done it, and it still hasn't improved.
I'm sure it doesn't. It's I joke around, of course, but it's funny. You wonder like if somewhere somebody's listening and they see me, bad mouthing Google and they make it like not work as well. Like, oh yeah, we'll show
cut your connection.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Google give up on Google Plus?
No.
They are decoupling their services. Google Plus and YouTube will be separated, and I think what we are going through, Seth, is the decoupling of that.
Well, it was a mess when they coupled it, and it created a mess. That's why I have like 6 different Google Plus accounts now. And because they would force you to connect it to a YouTube channel, but then if you had a personal, like my main YouTube channel is tied into a Gmail account because I started it all long before there was Google Plus and before there was Google Apps it was originally Google Apps for Business, now it's Google Apps for Work, right? And if you want to see a funny infographic, Google the search term Google Graves. And there's a funny infographic that shows you all the products Google has had over the years that they've, that they've deprecated.
Yeah. So does that mean uncoupling YouTube and Google Plus? What does that mean exactly?
Well,
then
it's going to be interesting that how the Hangouts on Air are going to work in terms of, because now the whole point of coupling it was that Hangouts on Air like this are being recorded right to our YouTube channel. So that'll be interesting. I wonder if that means that we will no longer be able to get that recording.
Well, I think we'll still be able to keep what we were. The problem is they want people to be able to do the Hangouts that do not have G Plus accounts.
Right, but you...
Oh, so it's buggy...
Wait,
so
no, you lost me on that
now.
one. Hangouts that don't have G Plus accounts, so just Hangouts as a separate application?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So they've got a buggy software right now, and so they're going to try to put more people on it?
So we're going through a divorce, and we're trying to figure out who we're going with.
Yvette and I attended a seminar a webinar regarding this. Let me see if I can find the link, and I'll post it for you guys.
Yeah, because this is the first I'm actually hearing of this, but I've been sort of buried in my nerd cave. Speaking of which,
you would have been all over it, Seth.
I have less and less time to be all over these things anymore. So I used to have a lot more spare time to like research and be the first one to know. I don't have that luxury anymore. I have too many things going on, which is another problem unto itself. So I want to show you something, speaking of which, because I want to show you what I spend my Friday nights doing. Hey, look, it's Eduardo. So let me click on my thumbnail so that it stays there on the recording. So here's what I spend my Friday nights doing. This is what I've been researching lately: jury selection software. It's just something I got curious about last time I had jury duty, and I noticed that the the DA or the ADA, whoever was prosecuting the case that I got selected on, was using what looked like a really cool app on her iPad. So I got curious. I actually asked her what she was using after the case was over, and I think she said it was called iJury or something like that. But I'm curious, and you know, it's funny because I've been talking more and more about online video for accountants and bookkeepers, and I know, for example, Gabriel fairly recently finally started blogging, right? And you know, you wonder, what's the strategy? How do I create content? How do I attract clients? Well, if you want to attract a law firm as a client, one idea here, and I'm going to give away my secret, is do something like this. Go learn about some jury selection software and do some videos on how to use it. And guess what? Law firms are going to start calling you, and they're going to want help with that. And lo and behold, guess what? I can help you with your accounting too.
Huh.
Right? So, I mean, this is just one example, but this is the kind of stuff that I do in my spare time because I love doing it. So I've been going around looking at jury selection software. Another thing I've been playing with is, a lot of you know that I'm a big fan of a project management application called Active Collab, and they have a new version coming out. So let me actually sign into this real quick. And I'm using my BQE software email as the user account because my Nerd Enterprises account, of course, is tied in to one that I actually use. So the whole online platform for this is getting a complete overhaul. And it took me a minute, but it's actually growing on me. So, you know, one of the things I use heavily on any of these things is, and one of the reasons I've loved Active Collab in particular, is that they have these notebooks areas, right? So let's go over here to my sample legal case. You can tell I'm spending a lot of time doing research on, you know, like law firms and accounting for law firms. There's a theme here, right? Well, another good social strategy is to pick a theme like this and develop campaigns for a period of time around that theme, because then guess what happens? You have a mountain of content around that theme, and next thing you know, anybody searches for accounting for law firms, and guess who shows up? So this is what I do. But I love the, if I go into the notes, at first, when I first looked at this, compared to the current interface, I hated it. But then I started, and case in point, by the way, about online video, the whole reason I'm even looking at this is for BQE software. I've been doing a campaign around accounting for law firms, and the so one of the series that I'm doing within that campaign is on the project management aspect of managing case files, right? And I did some videos on the previous version of the interface looking at how to use Active Collab to manage your legal cases. And they saw the videos, and they saw it on the BQE channel, but obviously they figured out who I was separate and apart from BQE because they emailed me through the Nerd Enterprises channel. And next thing I know, they're saying, hey, have you checked out the new version of our cloud application? I said, no, I didn't even know there was one. And so they said, if you take a new account with it, you'll get the new version, and then to migrate, if you have the old one, you just have to request it. But in the meantime, I started looking at this, and at first I hated it, but now it's growing on me because one of the reasons I hated it at first was I said there's no more notebooks, there's just notes. But what happens is once you create a new note, and I'll just do this quickly as a sample to let me. Then what happens is once I create this note, I can go back to my notes, and this is kind of cool actually. So I take my sample note and I just drag it over here into the case files, right? So the first note that you created is the one that sort of becomes the title note for that. They call it a collection now. So now when I click on this, it'll take me into this case files note, but up here I can see all the notes in the collection. I can click and drag to reorder them. And the interface is kind of cool, you know. Like I'm funny like this, but I love the the notepad paper look. I don't know why. I think it's a fun environment to work in. It just feels it makes me feel like it's very neat and organized also, rather than just a plain white page. You know, that's just me. I'm sure there are others who would prefer the plain white page. So anyway, I'm playing around with this, and obviously I'm going to be doing some videos on it. And this is, of course, what I spend my Friday nights doing, is researching stuff like this. You know, you still have your tasks and you have your discussions. This is what I love about Active Collab, is within the framework of a single project, I have all these different sort of, you know, options that make it really easy and flexible in terms of how I want to track and manage stuff. Right? So here's a task, get a court date. And it's funny because I realize this addresses a big problem that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and in talking to people about their project management software is, you know, how do I get a list of every task that I need to complete today across all projects, right? So over here in reports, you have that. I've actually customized a report that does exactly that. So it'll show me everything that needs to be done today. Let's go to my... Oh, here's my task by date, all projects. Right, so it shows me everything that has to be done today, regardless of the project, and then I can add in here to see the project. Who is it assigned to? The due date, it's already totaled by that, or grouped by that, so I don't need that. I don't really care who created it or when it was created, but I do want to see the age of it, right? So I just add those choices in here, and now I've got a really nice dashboard. Imagine if I had 15 tasks all due today. This is really helpful. Rather than having to jump from one project and see those tasks to another project to see those. And this is an issue that we've had with Smartsheet. Now, Smartsheet has reports, but the problem I've encountered when trying to create a report that shows me everything that's due is in one project I might call it a due date, and another project I might call it something else. And when you're designing the reports, you effectively have to choose every instance of every title that you might have given the comparable due date field, right? So in other words, if you're going to do it and you're going to want something like this to be something that you can create and that works well across all projects in a product like Smartsheet, you have to make sure you're very, very consistent about how you name everything. And that's where it becomes, you know, you get what's called friction in software, right? So we have friction, which means I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I have to stop and think about this. That's friction. When I'm working in software, I want to be able to move through it smoothly, beautifully, cleanly, and without having to stop at any point. So anyway, this is what I've been spending my time doing, is jury selection software, accounting for law firms, and of course the new version of Active Collab, used in that context of not so much accounting for law firms as much as the project management aspect of accounting for law firms, keeping track of the cases, the documents, the court dates, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, this is my world for today in a nutshell. And now I'll shut up. Anybody have any thoughts, comments, what you've seen? Like it, don't like it?
Another app to try out. Thanks, Seth.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. I am here to appeal to your extreme sense of ADHD. So with that, I think it's a good time to bring up our topic of the day. Ooh, we lost Travis. That was so sad. He just like fell down off my screen. Oh no! Somebody, Sarah, go catch him. Go lift your hand up. I got you. So, topic of the day. You know, it's long overdue. I did a video on this product a number of years ago on Chris Pirillo's blog. Back when I had a blog on Chris Pirillo's blog. I don't even think Chris Pirillo has a blog on Chris Pirillo's blog anymore. And he's gone through quite a bit of evolution over the years since those days. But at the time, I think he was actually using FreshBooks, if I remember correctly. And so he asked me to do a video on FreshBooks, and that was before FreshBooks had a balance sheet. So FreshBooks has come a very, very long way over the years. It started out, I remember my impression of it at the very beginning, the first time I heard of it many years ago, is it's invoicing software, right? It's software we use. It's great, really powerful, robust invoicing software. I can produce invoices for a simple service-based business where I'm not that concerned about the whole accounting cycle, but I just need to capture and track my, like the classic example I would think of is, the sole practitioner IT professional who is just going from account to account, and they just need to be able to create an invoice on the fly. They want something that looks nice and professional, and they want to be able to collect their payment and keep track of that. And their need to track expenses is fairly minimal. You know, they're going to buy a hard drive and some other things here and there that they're going to use when they're actually on the job. You know, so no inventory, just kind of buying what you need, installing what you install, and so on. So that was a long time ago. But again, FreshBooks has come a really, really long way. As Dennis was mentioning before we went live, when I was recently in Seattle, we had a demo from the FreshBooks CEO, and I was actually, he didn't give us a demo. He talked about value pricing. Come to think of it. It wasn't so much a demo of FreshBooks, but he talked about value pricing, and it was another yet compelling, talk about that concept of value pricing and why it's so important. And really the discussion was specifically around how when you're charging by the hour, you're sort of pitting yourself against your own client, right? Because charging by the hour, I want to charge more as a practitioner, but the client wants me to charge for fewer hours because they want it to cost them less, and then somehow you have to balance that somewhere in the middle with making sure the work gets done and it gets done well and effectively, right? So that's the problem with value pricing. And anyway, with that, I want to bring on Eduardo, who's going to tell us a little bit about FreshBooks, give us a little bit of history, and then give us a demo of the product so we can see where it's at today.
Yes, thank you very much, Seth. I really appreciate being brought on today to talk about FreshBooks with your team here. It's refreshing, as I mentioned. I've never been on a Google Hangouts live to air. And as for FreshBooks, FreshBooks has been around since 2003. We initially did start as strictly invoicing software. At the time, our CEO was a web designer, and he developed a tool to help himself really to keep track of his invoicing. And eventually, one of his clients liked it. So then he said, hey, why don't I just develop this? And slowly but surely the company started growing. He went back into his parents' home for 3 years, hired 2 more people, and from there FreshBooks was born. So it's a real success story here in Canada. We're one of the biggest, if not the biggest, startups in the SaaS space here in Toronto, and it's always been focused to have the company stay in Toronto, to sort of create a hub for it. The technology industry is really growing in Toronto. We have a lot of meetups. Once a month we have a Toronto Tech meetup. It's around 300 people, and it keeps growing. And so there's a lot of that growth going here in Toronto. When it comes to FreshBooks, as I mentioned, it started off as invoicing software. Then we branched off into estimates, then time tracking, and keeping track of expenses as well. And that's what we'll be going over the presentation right now. Before we begin, I just want to ask, is everybody here an accounting professional?
Yes.
Yep, looking across the row here, I think that is accurate to say. Yeah, in fact, we have a good mix because we have bookkeepers. We have Mariette, who's an enrolled agent, so she does a lot of tax work.
Right, okay. So let me just set the stage first. In your professions and learning about accounting, you're accustomed to having a solution that's double entry, correct? That has all the tools necessary for you to do your job on your end and supporting your clients that way. And that's what you know as accounting software. Whether it be QuickBooks, Sage, and the other big players like Xero. When it comes to FreshBooks, we call ourselves accounting software because that's what our target market considers us to be. So if you've ever worked with a shoebox client, for example, they think that keeping track of their shoebox receipts in their shoebox, that's part of their accounting. Also, sending an invoice, or either by paper or sending an invoice with Word or Excel, that's also their accounting model. So that's why we position ourselves as FreshBooks Cloud Accounting. Now, as an accounting professional, if they look at us, they say, wait a minute, this isn't accounting software. Because it's not accounting software designed for accountants. It's accounting software designed for small businesses, as you'll see in the presentation. So I just want to set that stage, set you up for that. Really, make sure everything is very clear. So we are not a double entry accounting software. We're more a transaction capture tool. Now, did anybody have any questions over that right now?
And beyond that, if you questions or not, I'd love to hear from everyone here if you've used FreshBooks, if you have any experience with it, and what that experience has been like.
We need Joanne here. She's the big FreshBooks user.
Oh yeah?
Cool.
And she's usually here with us every week. See, she should have. She failed our school today.
I have an account. uploaded it a number of years ago and
Mm-hmm.
played around with it, but just never went any further than that with it.
Okay, okay. If you're all accounting professionals, I just wanted to let you know we're actively growing our network of accounting professionals. We only ask you to attend a 1-hour session. It's completely free. You become certified with us, and we give you a free unlimited account. Now, if you're also looking for CPE credits, we have a 1-hour-and-a-half session, 2 CPE credits, completely free. And if you have any questions, we'll go over that later on. But you can join the network as well. And so, Seth, could I share my screen right now?
Please do.
Okay. What I did for, let me see what I do here. Where did it go? All right, share. Okay, so I just want to let you know for the School of Bookkeeping, Seth, we created this partner page called freshbooks.com/School of Bookkeeping. If you just type that in, you'll be taken to this portal. I didn't have your logo. I think this is the best one I could find, but you can send me a new one if you want. And you can enter your company name, email address. The promo code, I just put it as School 2015, and then you can start your trial. So be sure to send that over to the fan base if they want to give FreshBooks a shot to identify you as a partner with us.
All right, so hold on. Let me get that link down because I definitely want to have Eric send you a better logo. So it's freshbooks.com/School
of Bookkeeping all together.
I don't need the partners in there. It'll redirect?
No, it'll redirect. That's right. So let me show you. Just go to freshbooks.com/School
of Bookkeeping. Okay.
School of Bookkeeping, just like that. And it'll take you to the redirect. And the code is School 2015. Well, we can change that if you wish, but that's what it is right now.
Oh, that's perfect.
Cool. Excellent. And if anybody here would like to have a page like this, we can talk a little bit about it more. With Seth, he's been a partner of us for a very long time, so we created that page, and you invited us to a hangout. So excellent. So let's just jump in there quickly into the demo of FreshBooks. Just to confirm, we have around 30 minutes, Seth?
I mean, even more than that if you need it. But again, and as always, everybody chime in with your questions, interrupt, and be as rude as you can be, so that we can get the most out of this.
Excellent. So, as mentioned, FreshBooks is designed for your small business clients, and you can see my screen, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Strawberry Jam.
Yeah. So, Strawberry Jam Marketing is actually a client of us, and Miss Emma allowed us to use the likeness of her company to create this account. So, every FreshBooks customer gets a subdomain, so strawberryjammarketing2.freshbooks.com, and then they log in with their login. Just log in quickly. Then, as you can see, it's a very clean interface. The top logo, very, very straightforward. You just upload your logo by clicking there. We have an overview of recent activities, any outstanding invoices, any invoices and expenses, expense categories, active projects, and any team activity. So very straightforward for a small business owner to see how their business is doing at a moment's glance when they just log into the home screen. So from there, what a typical startup or what a typical entrepreneur does, they want to go into the settings and they want to set up credit card payment. Now, as you've probably seen in your careers progress, a lot of people in the past used to accept checks and cash all the time. We're finding now that a lot of people just want to get their money right away through the credit card and not even bother with the check. Although we do process checks and cash, obviously, we make it very easy for credit card processing, as I'll show you. So under company, it's just an standard address book style. Fill in that information. Then you go into accept credit cards. And under accept credit cards, we've partnered with the biggest payment gateways right now, so PayPal, Stripe, and Authorize.net. And just to remind you, FreshBooks is not a payment gateway. We process the payment after, so we update the account with the processed payment that from a signal that PayPal, Stripe, or Authorize.net send us. As of this year, we've also created our own payment gateway in partnership with another company called WePay, based in California. And for this demo, we'll just go with PayPal, so because it's probably the most common one out there. So to enable it, all you really do is just click on Manage, select the payment as a PayPal account that you have, enter the address, and click on Save. And with that, FreshBooks establishes that connection. So now when we send an invoice, if a client pays that invoice online, it'll redirect them to PayPal on the back end, and then once that payment is processed, when the credit card is accepted, PayPal will send FreshBooks a confirmation. Same idea with Stripe and Authorized.net. Okay, the rest, let's see, move on to taxes here. We're truly a cloud application, meaning we're the same anywhere in the world. So whether it's here or if it's in South Africa or Australia, the system looks identical. We don't we don't change depending on the region, because we're a really simple system. So some people ask us, do you work with the taxes in Australia, or do you work with the taxes in the UK? The simple answer is yes, because all our taxes are completely customizable. So as you can imagine here, I'm not exactly sure what the tax is called over in California, but for example, we could just put Cali tax, make that 6%, and whatever number is associated with it. So we click on Save, and that way, if you have clients in California, New York, Florida, you can you can charge them according to the tax that's right for their area. Okay, the rest, here we have colors, templates, permissions, very straightforward. Won't be able to go into in-depth of all of them, but these are just customizing your experience with the user experience. So let's jump into a little area, the people section. Under the people section, sorry, any questions so far?
Nope, we're all good.
Okay. All right, so yeah, please interrupt me if you have any questions. So in the people section, again, very straightforward. We have clients, we have staff and contractors, we have the accounting area, which allows a client to connect to an accounting partner. We can assign clients to particular staff members, and we could also see all the emails sent through the FreshBooks system. And I'll show you what I mean in a little bit. So under clients, again, we have 4 for this demo. Let's click on Acme Studios so you can see how it looks like under Edit. And under Edit, we have the organization name. Very simple. It's an address book style. And we can have as many contacts as you want. Sometimes you're working with one client in the company. The next time you're working with another client within the company. So you know who to send the invoice to. And also different addresses that your customer may be located in. And also some internal notes just to keep your staff aware of who this customer is or what their tendencies are. So we'll click on Save there. Okay. Next we have staff and contractors. So under staff and contractors, we can have as many staff members as this administrator would like to have in their team. When it comes to contractors as well, as you can imagine, sometimes a team needs to contract a contractor to do a specific project, and that person does not have access to the full team, just to log hours to a particular project. So we would invite a member, we add the contractor, and they're invited to start up their own FreshBooks trial, which is free for them to try out, and during the duration of the project, and they're able to log hours towards it without having to be a staff member. Okay. Next we have.
And what happens if their free trial expires? They haven't taken an account, but I still have them working on my project. Are they still able to work on my project and just not have their own FreshBooks account?
Definitely. We would extend it. It's not a mandatory that we ask them to pay for the system since they're working on somebody else's project.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, where do we go? So yeah, 4 members and the administrator, which is Emma. Okay, so under accountant, we have, as you've probably experienced in other softwares, there, and as you mentioned with Sage, Seth, they're developing like an accountant portal. We have an accountant center as well, but through the accountant center, you're able to connect to your client's accounts and pull all the reports. At the time, it's its first iteration. It's not as complex as some of the ones you've seen, but we'll show you what it can and what it can't do near the end of this demo. So right now we see that Emma is connected to our fictional CPA here, Stan Fan, and this user has access to look at all the reports. Now under Assign Clients, we can see we can select a client, let's say Acme Studios, and we see that Ben Lopez and Zoe have access to the Acme Studios account, and Liam and Tasha are not selected. So Maybe their skill set is better suited somewhere else, or maybe they're busy doing another project. But for now, these guys have access to that. All right. And under sent emails, whenever we send an invoice, an email is sent out, and we can click on this to see how it looks like. And this will just show you what the last email you sent out for a particular invoice that you completed. And you'll see that in a minute.
Does it use its own email system, or do you connect to like Google or Outlook?
No, we have our own internal system that these emails are sent out through. So it doesn't tie into Outlook or Google to connect to these emails for you. It's automatically sent through the back-end email system that we've designed. Okay, so next, so let's learn how to get information into FreshBooks. So let's go under expenses, and there's three methods to inputting expenses. One is the traditional expenses. Then we have bank imports and also file import. So let's go over the traditional expenses first. The first one we have on the list here, let's say August 4th, for advertising and promotional flyers. We see that it's $50, and we see that it's unbilled. So let's click on Edit to see a little more. Here we see we could have added the taxes. We have the vendor who is Staples in this case. It's not a recurring amount because it's only a one-time deal. And the category is advertising. Now we've populated this with the most common categories available so that you don't have to guess what your client has been keeping track of. But if something is missing, we're able to click on it and edit the list and add to it to make it a little more sense. Here we've assigned it to a client, so we know that these promotional flyers are for Acme Studios, but we've also gone a step further and assigned it to a particular project within Acme Studios. That way, you can see that FreshBooks is really putting in a lot of effort to help your clients keep organized, so they know where the money is really going, and where you can when you send an invoice, you'll be able to bring back that this amount and charge for it. We also have the ability to attach the receipt to it. This is just a sample receipt, but you get the idea. You can get the receipt attached to any expense. And what I should also mention is that we have this ability through our iPhone and Android apps, or even iPad apps. So if you can imagine somebody, your client going to Staples, traditionally they get the receipt, put it in their pocket, and that receipt is long gone. They'll never see it again. They'll never see the light of day again. In the other case, they get the receipt, they simply turn on their FreshBooks app, take a picture of it, it's uploaded to the cloud, and they don't have to worry about losing it anymore because it's recorded. And that way, they can just go about their business, and FreshBooks will eventually remind them that they have a receipt to charge their client for. So
question.
Yes.
So on the FreshBooks app, you have the availability to take a picture of the receipt.
Yes.
And okay, do you also have the availability to track your mileage on the FreshBooks app?
Not right now, but what I can tell you is we always work off of feature requests. And the more feature requests for a particular subject, the more seriously it's taken. And I can tell you that that has been a big request over the past year and 9 months that I've been here, and it's being really looked at by a product team. Although I can't disclose too much, on when or it would be available, it is being looked at right now as an extension to what we offer right now.
Do you guys track mileage in the FreshBooks P&L?
Sorry?
Is mileage able to be tracked through your system, the online system?
So if and when we develop that, it would be directly integrated with what we offer right now. So it wouldn't be a separate app. It would be built in.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you talk about apps. Is it both for the Android and for the iPhone?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now you can try it, but it's available for anybody to give it a shot.
Okay.
So you just brought up Mariette's question. Is the cloud storage of receipts integrated with other storage, such as Box or Dropbox?
Yeah, I just read that email. Thank you. That message. Thank you very much. No, this is uploaded directly to the FreshBooks system.
Okay, that's through FreshBooks too.
So can she hear me, or do I need to reply to her?
It
she
looks
can
like
hear
she
you. I don't
just
know why
can't
she.
speak.
Okay. Yes. So at this time, it's not integrated with another system. It's saved onto the FreshBooks servers.
Okay.
Right. Now, and Mariette's
sorry.
live here on the panel, by the way. She can hear you, but she's muted. For some reason, she's just typing. But Mariette, if you can unmute and ask your questions verbally, that would probably help on a number of levels, because I know when I'm presenting, that chat pop-up can be a little distracting.
Yeah.
I will. You know, I'm on the iPad, and the iPad is not my friend ever on these chats, so that's why I didn't want to risk it. But can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
sounds great.
Okay.
And
All
that's
right,
why
well,
you need to use Androids and not free.
I'm not going to go there, and
It's a
I
good
will
thing
pop
Eric's not
when
here.
need it, and I'll stop sending messages. Sorry.
No worries. No worries. Excellent. Excellent. So.
Or just post them on the page. If you post them on the Hangout on air page, you know, where everybody's watching.
I know exactly what you mean, but that's even worse on an iPad. Just so you know.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving right along, let me just minimize this little screen. I kept hearing dings, so I had to look for that little screen.
That's the chat.
Yeah. Excellent. So next we have an overhead expense. So the first one was a rebillable expense. The next one is overhead. So let's click on Edit there. We see that the amount is $2,200 for office space. Then we have taxes. Again, the tax name is completely customizable. Remember earlier we put a Cali tax, and it's updated automatically. The vendor, in this case, is Tripod Holdings, category office space. We don't assign it to a particular client here because it's an overhead, and the notes is just rent. So very straightforward. As you can imagine, this is what your clients try to do when they put it in a shoebox, and they may put a little note on the receipt itself, and this is really trying to help them to be a little more organized.
And in the meantime, as far as mileage goes, you could just log it as an expense just like
Correct.
that, right? You would just book it to a mileage account. You just have to do the calculation on your own in terms of taking the number of miles times the rate.
Correct. Very, very good point. That's exactly what when people call in, that's the workaround we suggest. And every state has their own rate for mileage. I believe here in Ontario it's 35 cents per kilometer. I'm not too sure how much it is over in the U.S., but that's the workaround we currently have.
Yeah, I always use the federal rate here, which is I think 57.5 cents per mile right now.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. So next, moving on here, we have bank accounts. One second. Just replying to a message. Okay. So with bank accounts, we've established around 95% of the connections with all the banks in North America, including U.S. and Canada. We're actively working to bring on more banks from around the world. But what this does is if we add an account and we find a bank, for example, Bank of America is a popular one. Bank of America. We see that there's a ton of iterations of Bank of America. Let's just say Bank of America, Illinois.
I was going to say California all the way.
Okay. Exact same process, really. You just enter your ID, and FreshBooks will try to connect to it. So here we have our mascot dancing away, trying to establish a connection. This will ultimately fail, obviously, because those were just fake credentials. But once it works, it will pull information from that particular account, whether it's a savings or checkings or a credit card, and it'll pull the information for the past 60 days. And then from that day on, it will pull information from that account or credit card once a day. So as you can imagine, that'll be saving your clients a lot of time, very convenient, and all the information will be there for you eventually when you need to access all the expenses.
And was that dancing mascot a squirrel? It looked like a squirrel.
That is correct. The mascot's name is William Billingsworth.
Nice.
That's cool. That's fun. You know, when you're doing bookkeeping and you're into numbers all the time, you see something like that, it can put a smile on your face.
That's
Well,
right.
and it's a good distraction, right? Look, squirrel.
Yeah.
I
No,
have,
that's
I, have
right.
I have a question about the banks.
Yes.
Before 60 days, can you upload like CSV files like you can in Xero?
Correct. So that's the next part here. So let's go into file import. So as I mentioned, there are some banks that we still haven't partnered with. So for example, if you have a client whose bank is over in France, we don't have that connection just yet. So what we would do is ask them to log into the bank's account and pull information as a CSV format for the past 2 years or last month or whatever you want, and then we import it into the expense area. So that's completely optional for you, and it can be done here.
Does it import deposits?
No, just expenses.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So the next part here, again. So any questions here? Again, these expenses can be done through the iPhone and Android apps, and that was it for expenses. So let's move over to time tracking. Now, time tracking is another thing that you can do during on your mobile devices. But to start, before you can track any time, you have to create a project, because you have to create a project to log it to. So let's go over projects. In projects, we have only one, the rebranding campaign. So we're going to click on Edit there, and you'll see how projects work in FreshBooks. We require a unique project name. We can assign it to a client. We can assign it as internal if we're doing something around the office, or create a new client right away. But in this case, it's just the existing client, Acme Studios. The project manager, we can select again whoever is best suited for it. In this case, it'll be Emma, the owner. The billing method really comes down to what the client has determined in the contract with their customer. In this case, we'll just leave it at task rate. The time estimate is really just a gauge for the owner to see how well their team is doing. So for example, let's say this project took them 85 hours last month, or for the last customer. Maybe they want to try a little more efficient, maybe charge more but make it in 80 hours, for example. This will be a good gauge for them to go by. We could also assign tasks. As you know, every project requires a particular, a set of tasks to accomplish that full project, and each of these tasks are billed by hour, and we can also run reports based on that. And we can add tasks if you wish as well. Okay. We can add additional team members. Here we have Ben and Emma, and let's just click on Save right now.
And on the mobile app, are they able to clock in and out, or do you just manually just key, I work 5.25 hours?
No, in the mobile app, you can select the project. For example, we just created this rebranding campaign. As of right now, any of your team members can open up their mobile apps and log hours towards that particular project. So it's available for everyone.
But no, I understand that, but can they clock in and out, or do they just log them by manually entering how many hours they worked?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do right now. So it's manually logging how many hours they've done.
So there's no built-in timer then?
Sorry?
There's no built-in timer.
Yes, there is. But again, it's a bit of a manual process. I'll show that to you right now. Okay. So let's go back into timesheets. So let's assume this past Tuesday, August 4th, correct? We had some meetings with these people. So let's say the project for Acme Studios is the rebranding campaign. The task was meetings, and we met for 3 hours. And this time we talked about the new banner that we're designing. The banner design. And this is essentially what your team is doing. They select the project, they select the task, they select how many hours, and any notes necessary, and they click on log. So they have the ability to do that on the go. So if they just had a meeting for 3 hours, that same day, or maybe as soon as they get to their car, they log those hours.
But when I see this start timer up there,
we'll go over that in 1 second. That was next. So under the start timer, we have this available.
Okay.
So let me give you an example here. Let's say Emma is going to be working under the rebranding campaign. She selects the task. She's going to do some research, and she's going to be researching a new website technology. So here we go. We click on Start. And if you've ever worked with, a creative professional, a website designer, or somebody who just a creative professional, they may take a very long time doing research because they're perfectionists. They want to get their project done, as best as they can. So a website designer such as Emma can take up to 4 hours in front of her computer looking for the latest trends or new plugins she can put in a new website, things like that. So we leave this timer running for her to do her work. So in a mobile setting, let's assume your client is a fashion designer. There it is. And this person goes into a fabric store, and they turn on their FreshBooks app. They turn on the timer, and they start doing. They start looking for the appropriate fabric that they'll need for the dress or the suit that they're building. So if they spend 2 hours looking for that fabric, once they finish or once they cash out, they can go back to the app, pause it, and log those hours. And then those hours can be billed to the client later on.
Not that this would ever happen, but say you leave the timer on by mistake and you've, built 8 hours when you only worked like an hour. Can you go in and edit?
Yes, definitely. So I'll show you that to you in a minute, but we'll just leave this one running for now. Okay, so let's say today's Friday 7th. Again, we had a rebranding campaign. I just want to populate this so our invoice has a little bit of information. So we had another set of meetings, this time 2 hours, and we talked about the flyer. Let's just click on log, and those hours are logged. That hour is logged down here, correct? And as you can see, we can click on this at the bottom here, and you can edit this as well. And you can log those hours to make it maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Save changes. So it's very easy to edit using, even though you've logged those hours before. Okay, so let's move over. We talked about projects. Tasks is very straightforward. We have.
Hey, Edward, a quick question from Billy Ann, actually by proxy for Mariette.
Okay, sorry, I missed a question.
No, it's not there. That's why
Okay.
It's on the page. So I'm gonna moderate this for you. So
Sure.
The question is, does FreshBooks remember accounting options or create rules? I assume this goes back to the bank feeds where we're downloading the transactions from the bank. Is it going to be able to remember that when I download a transaction for Staples, it should go to office supplies, for example?
Yes. So I don't know if it's set up on this particular account, but let me just check quickly. Okay, down here, this is just a demo account, but down here there's going to be a little checkbox that says remember this expense. So next time that same expense comes in, it'll be categorized accordingly.
Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, I should turn that on. We won't be able to do it right now, but I have to go into the back end and turn it on for this account. But yes, it is possible. Sorry. Next we have time tracking. I was there. Okay. So then we have the team timesheets. Now, under team timesheets, again, this is a demo, so we won't have all the information there. But as the business owner, Emma can check what her team has been up to. So here she can run a quick report to see what Ben has been up to, and then she can go drill a little further and see what he's been doing with a particular project, and even go further to see what tasks they've been up to. Now, not to pick on Ben, she might go over the whole team. And again, she may even just want to see how much research is being done in her company. And she might find that there's way too many hours being allocated for research. So this gives your clients a really high overview insight on how their business is doing, how their team is behaving, and it'll be able to give them all the tools necessary to adjust accordingly to make the changes that'll make her business a little more successful. So that's the team timesheets area. And let me just go back here. Let me just select all here. This little timer here has been running in the background, so let's click on pause. And now we're going to log those hours. Okay, Shazam is done. We converted it. I'll close this right now. If you click on the date, Friday the 7th, we see that the rebranding campaign, there was some research done on new website technology, and it converted those 4 minutes and 50 seconds over to hours. And again, if you want to edit it, you click on edit, and you can edit those hours if you wish. Very straightforward, very simple for any small business owner to do. Okay, so we click on Save there. So at this point, your small business client has connected FreshBooks to a payment gateway, which was PayPal. Your small business user has created a client, which was Acme Studios. They've also added some expenses towards that particular client. They created a project, and they logged some time. So now your small business client is ready to create an invoice. Okay, now there's one method to create an invoice here, but we'll go to the main one so you can see how it looks like from the Invoices tab. Under the Invoices tab, we have traditional invoice. We can also create recurring invoices because if any of you work with a website designer or maybe an app designer, there's a lot of the SaaS model is really moving over to the small business as well. And we found that a lot of our clients are starting to create a lot of recurring profiles where once a month, or maybe sometimes twice a month, an invoice is sent automatically for them and charge their client automatically as well. Okay, so let's click on Invoices. Let's create a new invoice here. Under New Invoice, we're going to click on the client. Again, we've been working with Acme Studios. Click on that. We have the invoice number. This invoice number is completely customizable. Just remember that it'll be an increment from the previous one, and it's you can alphanumeric as well. In this case, we have sent over to Donna McKinney. That's where the contract was made. And the next time, maybe sent it over to Mark, for example. I showed you how to do that in how to create multiple clients in multiple contacts in a particular client. We have the date of issue. We have the PO number, which is essentially just a text box, a memo field. FreshBooks doesn't keep track of PO numbers, but some of our clients would like to have it on their invoice itself. We have a discount. Maybe it's a Black Friday and your customer's feeling a little generous. They want to give a discount off. And the online payment gateways, we've selected PayPal as mentioned. The more important part here.
Now, how come I don't see Stripe there?
We didn't select it though. Well, let me go back in settings quickly.
Oh, so you have to choose it in settings to make it available there, and then choose
Correct.
which of those you want available on that particular invoice. Got it.
Correct. We didn't enable it. So initially we had authorized and then PayPal enabled. You saw how easy it was to enable it, but yeah, Stripe wasn't selected.
Gotcha.
So more importantly, here we have this client has been unbilled time and expenses. So let's click on Add All Items. Okay. So here we have everything that we've done today. We have the new banner design. It was a 3-hour meeting on August 4th. We have the flyer that we added for 1.5 hours. We have the new website technology, which is 0.07 hours. And we also have the promotional flyers from Staples, correct? For $50. So, imagine how much time this is already saving your client and how many things your clients may have missed by not recording it accordingly. So in this case, the receipt, we would have automatically lost $50 if that receipt has not been uploaded to the cloud. The research, if somebody hadn't started the timer, we wouldn't have, she could have spent there 4 hours, for example, 4 hours doing research, and there go $120. So the FreshBooks system is really, really designed to get your clients increase their cash flow to their business and get them really organized. So. And what you saw here is how simple it is to change something, and that's it. So all the tax I don't know if taxes are added here. So the invoice has been added. We have the balance there, and we have also an option to apply credit. But maybe this client takes forever to pay, so we're just going to oversee that. We also have terms and conditions, also notes. So thanks. For your business. And at the bottom we have the receipt attached to it as well. Correct? So now we have the option to save it as a draft. Maybe we need to add more things later on. We can send it by email or we can send it by snail mail. Now sending by snail mail, we have a service where we print out the invoice and we send it off on your behalf. And it doesn't cost anything other than how much a typical invoice costs at a convenience store. So we don't charge. It's not an extra service that we charge, a monthly fee for. It's just based on the stamps. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to send this by email, and this is the email that's going to go out, and it's completely customizable. So we click on Send. And it's sending right now. So here we have a notification that says your invoice has been sent. Let's preview this invoice. And as you can see, this is exactly what your client's customers will see on their end, without the send banner here.
Will they get a PDF attachment as well, or is it embedded in the body of the email?
It's not in. I'll show you that in a second. It's not embedded in the body of the email. A link is embedded in the email, which will redirect them to a sub portal of Strawberry Jam Marketing. We'll go over that in a second. So here's the invoice. We have a banner that says sent. Very clean interface here for you, and we have the expense attached as proof of purchase for your client, and we also have the invoice autobiography. Now this is a very useful area of FreshBooks because it tells your clients what your invoice has been up to. So if anybody has read it, if anybody has opened it, it will all be recorded here. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to step outside Strawberry Jam Marketing and go into Donna McKinney's account to see what she sees on her end. Okay, so Gmail. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question while you're
Yes.
doing that? So when the invoice eventually gets paid, because I know we were looking at the expense side and what happens over there,
Yeah.
does it match the payment from the customer to that invoice? Does it show paid automatically when it comes through the bank or through whatever way you
Through the
input your
payment
accounting?
through the payment gateway. Yes. So I'll show you the process right now. So right now we're in Donna McKinney's account. So she's a client of Strawberry Jam Marketing, and her email says that there's a new invoice, invoice number 138. So let's click on that. Here we see a clean interface, very nice and professional looking. Let's close this. And we have, remember I customized it a little earlier, and here we have a link to that invoice. So let's click on that. Let's just click on. There we go. So what we're doing right now is we're going into a portal of Strawberry Jam Marketing within the FreshBooks system. So all of Strawberry Jam Marketing's clients have access to their own independent portal where they can go in and check out their invoices and also account statements, which I'll go over in a minute. So as soon as the client clicks on the link, we have a message saying here, hey, you have another outstanding invoice for $322. Again, FreshBooks helping your clients get paid faster. And here we have the invoice. We have the option with PayPal to pay now. We can forward this maybe to a partner. We can dispute this. Maybe we only met for 1 hour for the banner design. And that message will go back to Emma. We can save this as a PDF, or we can print it to have a hard copy. Okay, so
is there no option to have the PDF go as an attachment to the email that initially goes out? And I'll tell you why I'm asking.
Yeah.
If I'm using bill.com and you're emailing to my bill.com address, then bill.com kind of needs that to come in with the PDF attached so that it'll show up in my bill.com inbox for data entry.
I see what you mean. Unfortunately, no. The way the FreshBooks system works is the PDF can be extracted from the portal. Maybe you can send that over to bill.com later, but we wouldn't send an invoice via PDF as an attachment.
Gotcha. And as long as we're on that topic, what products does FreshBooks integrate with?
I'll show you the add-ons page. There's a lot of them. I haven't memorized them all, but Xero has built an integration with us. That's something they took it upon themselves to actually build a full integration where they connect to, if their accountant is on Xero and their clients are on FreshBooks, they can connect it to and then pull data from FreshBooks for the accountant. So that's one. We also have, I don't know if you've heard of the company Fundbox.
Yes.
We also have Zen Payroll. We also have Receipt Bank. I believe Expensify. Which you can talk about what's called the mileage with them as well. I'll go over the add-on section in a second. So let's just wrap up this demo here. What else? Okay, so at the bottom again, the receipt is attached, and we can pay now. Again, really always trying to get your clients to get paid right away. So I don't know who asked that question initially about the payment, but to answer you, once we click on pay, let's click on. Open this in a new tab. So here we're reminded it's $434.60. Let's click to pay with PayPal. So if we were to follow this, it'll take us to a PayPal page to enter your credit card information. Once that is done, the FreshBooks system will be updated with that exact amount or the amount that you pay. In this case, it's $434.60, and it'll be uploaded. It'll be updated to the FreshBooks system. Okay, so within this portal, you also have access to an account statement. Let's click on that. In the account statement, Strawberry Jam Marketing's clients can log in here whenever they want, and they'll see a detailed summary of all their interactions with this company. You know, a live interaction, so up until the point where they click. So no longer will your clients be calling you to create a bank account statement. Maybe some of them call once a week, once a month. It's all there done for them. And because, you know, some of your small business clients, they wouldn't know where to start with an account statement, you know, let alone putting it together like this for one or all of their clients. So all that information is there available for them. Okay, so let's just close this. We're going to go back into, where is it? Okay, so we're going back into Strawberry Jam Marketing now, and we're going to click on the refresh button. So now we see that this banner changed from sent to viewed. So if we scroll down, we see that it has been viewed by Donna McKinney. And Seth, that's the reason we have a link associated in the email. We need that link to send a signal.
Track that. That makes sense.
Correct. So that's a critical part of the autobiography. Right. So now your clients are in a position to know that their customers have viewed their invoice, and it should only really be a matter of time before we get paid. And then they can start a new conversation saying, hey, do you have any questions regarding the invoice? When can we expect payment? Or, you know, what can I help you to complete the transaction? And this effectively eliminates we never got your email with the invoice. It may have gone into junk, or it got lost in the mail somewhere. It really helps visibility for your clients. Okay, so let's say your client, your client trusts you enough to give you your credit card, and so you can have it on file. You can pay it online here. Again, that'll redirect you to the PayPal, or you can just enter a payment. What we'll do right now. Let's say, for example, the method was cash. I paid in full, or maybe even check. And the check number was 12345. And save. We can send a notification to Acme Studios. So we just click on Save. Click OK. And now it says successfully paid. So this is exactly what's going to happen when if the payment is made through PayPal or Stripe. You'll get another little notification here saying automatically paid via this PayPal or Stripe. So now the invoice has been paid. Okay, now we're going to go into reports. And I'm sorry, I'm going over time here, Seth. I don't know how much longer you guys have, but
we got to wrap it up in a minute. And I know there's a couple of questions, but yeah, keep going.
Okay, so under Account Center, if you guys become certified, everything will be talked to you more in detail. But here we have Account Center, which you all would have access to, and we can access the account through here, and we'll have the access to all the reports. Now reports, every single report is exportable to CSV or Excel, and we have the more common ones like profit and loss, accounts aging. Again, we won't be able to go into all of them, but it's all in a neat to understand format for you to use. Okay, with that, I think that's pretty much it. I just wanted to go show you this slide. This is essentially what FreshBooks does, and what your clients pass it over to the accountant to the accounting professional to do. So this is what we don't do. Maybe that's a better way to do it. So you understand where we fit in the market. I also wanted to show you this. FreshBooks is exclusively designed for the service-based businesses. Intuit, QuickBooks, Xero, they tackle a completely different market. Again, as you saw, that's pretty much all there is to FreshBooks. It's not too complicated. It's it's probably the first 20 minutes of training that you do in any other software, but that's the full system for us. And this is a typical target market. So these are the people that come to FreshBooks. Okay, so let me change the screen back over to you, Seth, and or do you do that yourself?
No, you got just click the same thing again. So, question. One of the questions we had is somebody's giving us a lot of feedback there.
Sure. Let me open up this little.
So one of the questions we had is, we have the bank feeds, we can download it. Is there somewhere we can go to look at a register to see all the transactions in the bank account?
Unfortunately, no. Our system is only designed to pull expenses for the clients.
Okay, so we pull in the expense if we receive the payments, but isn't there a balance sheet now? How does the balance sheet work then? It just shows us what...
So, yes, so you probably heard through the balance sheet, maybe through a blog, but let me see here. How do I show this? Okay, so we do have a balance sheet, but the balance sheet is really just a guideline. Okay. I'll show you that. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the reports, we go to account staging, balance sheet. Let's just show you. So it's really just a guideline. It doesn't pull anything other than the accounts receivables from FreshBooks, and the rest is really up to the accounting profession to fill it up. And to tell you the truth, the accounting professional will do a balance sheet on their own system.
Got it. Okay. And then FreshBooks does integrate. I think you pointed out, and I'm sorry, I may have gotten distracted. It integrates with QuickBooks and Xero so that I can have the whole GL package and use FreshBooks like it was originally built for as kind of my invoicing tool, and also it looks like it's a really powerful tool for tracking and billing back expenses. And then you mentioned it integrates with Expensify, which is like music to my ears.
Yeah, expenses. Here we don't have Expensify listed, but I got to double check with our partners team. I don't know if they haven't. We're normally really strict on having the integration work properly. Mm-hmm. So they used to work here. I got to double check why they haven't been brought on again. But these are the expenses we work with as well.
Got it.
And if you go to freshbooks.com/on-add-ons, you can see the variety of people the companies that we've partnered with. Okay?
Got it.
And although FreshBooks hasn't designed a QuickBooks integration, there are companies like OneSaaS, OneSaaS.com, who have built integrations with QuickBooks Online and FreshBooks, for example.
Got it.
Okay. So there's a variety of options available. We do have an open API which allows all that.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. All right, anybody else any questions before we run away?
So, like I was saying earlier, I had played around with the system. How would I go about transferring my account from a personal FreshBooks account to an accountant account?
So, through the Accountant Center, you'll have access to... through the Accountant Center, essentially, you'll come to the reports page. Can you guys see my screen or no?
No, we're back to you.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Well, what I want to do is I want to convert my FreshBooks email because when I log into FreshBooks, I use my email address.
Yeah.
But it's not an accountant version. I want to be able to be a FreshBooks accountant.
So there's only one version of FreshBooks, and if you need to access more, like edit the information from your client's account, at that stage we would require that they share the information with you, their login information with you.
Okay, and if I want to become a FreshBook advisor,
yep.
Since there are none in Wyoming, and I'd be the only one,
yep.
How would I go about that?
So to become a FreshBooks certified partner, all you do is go to freshbooks.com/accountants, and there's a registration link there for available dates that we have coming up in the month of August. So let me show you freshbooks.com/accountants, and here we have. If you scroll a little down, where it says get FreshBooks certified. You click on those dates, and those are the dates we have available.
Gotcha. Thank you.
No problem. Again, remember, there's a couple options. The 1 hours are really more in depth when it comes to the demo. The hour and a half is a lot of introduction. I think you got a lot of introduction with FreshBooks as it is, but we really have to essentially fill up the time to get those CPE credits. So I wouldn't. I'd probably do the 1 hour one. So how do I think I'm done here?
Yeah, you've unshared. You're good. We're
Okay.
looking at you again. All
Okay.
right, so we've got to wrap up. We've actually gone over by about 10 minutes, but this was great, Eduardo.
Okay.
So everybody remember, if you want to go get a 10% discount on FreshBooks, just go to freshbooks.com/School of Bookkeeping. And I posted the code in the group, but it was, what was it again? It was
School 2015.
School 2015. So you can use that promo code. And, you know, as with all this kind of stuff, the best thing to do is just actually take the account, start using it, find one client to use it with, because it looks like it would be, I shouldn't say it would be, it looks like it's amazing software to use for the industries that Eduardo listed a few minutes ago, you know, where it's a real strict service-based business, and, you know, well, just that. It looks like it would be an amazing program to use for web designers and, you know, like I mentioned earlier, IT professionals, anybody with a simple service-based business where the focus is really on just invoicing the clients and getting reimbursed for any expenses. Really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so Eduardo, how do we? Where do people go if they need more information or have more questions?
You can, first of all, the first step I would suggest is go to that freshbooks.com/accountants. Sorry, for clients or for accounting professionals?
Well, anyone. So accounting professionals go to /School of Bookkeeping, right?
Correct. And for people who just like to learn a little more about FreshBooks, they go to freshbooks.com/webinars. This is for the end user, and they can try it there. We have webinars once a week, but I would suggest that they use your link to get their own FreshBooks account, because eventually, if they want to try it out, you know, maybe for a month or two, they at least get that discount.
Okay, perfect.
For the accounting professional, if you sign up for our webinar, you will be assigned a dedicated account manager, and after the presentation, they can follow. You can follow up with them. You can also find me on LinkedIn if you want. Connect there if you have any additional questions, and we'd love to help you along the way.
Perfect. All right, Eduardo, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you.
Everybody else, make sure you, you know, as you're playing with FreshBooks, post it in the ABO group on Facebook. Let us know what your experience is, what's going on, what you like, you know, any feedback you have. Let's keep the conversation going.
Excellent.
Seth, what are you doing this afternoon?
Okay.
You have some.
Have a good night. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Wait,
Thanks.
sorry, Jeannie, you kept cutting out.
Your thing with Stacy this afternoon. What are you doing?
No, we're not doing anything this afternoon. On September 4th, we have the first episode of our Apposaurus Rex.
Got it.
Seth,
Yes?
didn't he say that accountants get a free account?
No, it looked like 10% off from what I saw on the page.
I thought he said free.
No, when he first
He
started,
did
he said
say
a free
free account for accountants. Yes,
He did
yes, it
say that,
is.
right?
So maybe it's
I thought
free
he
for
did.
accountants and then 10% off for your
For
clients.
Exactly. Can we get
That's
that
why I was-
confirmed?
That's why I was trying to get my account converted over to an accountant account, so I could get the free account.
Right.
Yeah, I was figuring that's what you were trying to do, Gabe.
Yeah, the best thing to do is reach out directly to FreshBooks then to get clarification on that, and for that matter, how to make that change.
I'll let you know how it comes out.
All right.
All right,
Thanks,
guys,
Seth.
thank you.
We'll see you all later.
Bye. See you
Bye.
next week.